On this lifestyle chat segment, we have Mrs. Angela Naomi Quaynor, founder of Angle Club Project, with the goal to motivate children in Ghana to learn the Ghana language and traditions at early stage in life.
I'm not saying that it is not a good idea for a child to learn different language. It is very, very important for a child to be bilingual in terms of learning different languages. However, your culture or your language, that comes first.
Based in London, but the distance between Ghana and UK has not deterred her on embarking this wonderful project, as she believes your language is your identity.
Well-known writer called Gaston Darren. He has written a lot of books and he's a German writer. And he emphasized that although he is a German, he writes in English, Dutch, and other languages. But he always reminds himself that it is very important to be aware of who you are, and who you are is your culture, and your culture makes you who you are.
Mom, with such a project, right? I know it's very difficult for someone just to come up and go like, look, I want to impact on other children. You need money. Are you the only one financing this project?
Yes, I am at the moment, and recently I've got my first donor. That's my daughter today with me.
Auntie, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I must admit, I love the videos Whitney posts online about your fitness, and in life, to be able to help someone, you need to be physically and mentally fit. And how do you plan your fitness routine?
Okay. Foremost, I would like to say thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
inviting me to your program. But historically, when I was in primary school, I was very, very, put it this way, a sports girl. So I was into all sorts of sports, and even I represent Greater Accra when I was in Teachers Training College.
Oh, wow.
So it seems like that thing is still in me. And I used to go to the gym until the pandemic, and then I stopped. And then I started using the YouTube to do exercise at home.
Wow.
And then one day, they visited, and she wanted to go for a walk, and I was like, oh, can I join you? And that is how it started.
And you just overtook them. And I just sent the video to my mom. I was like, Mom, you need to be doing this and stop complaining about your knees, your leg, and other things, which is really, 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 really inspiring. I mean, looking at your age and the exercise that you've been doing, I must say I really love them, and keep it up, Mom. Okay, Auntie, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his own language, that goes to the heart. This quote is from Nelson Mandela. For everyone to start up an initiative, there is always a rationale behind it. And Mom, what was the reason why? Guys, you hear me saying Mom because I'm from Ghana, and anyone who is an elder who is of the age of your mom, Mom is. Can I call you Mom?
Either way,
Okay,
I don't mind. I don't mind at all.
So, what ignited your desire on embarking such a project?
Okay. Years back, when I had Dede, and by then I've had a second one, Quaynor, I decided to take them to Ghana so that they can learn our culture, and especially the language. So when we went, I encouraged, especially my husband's side, when they visited, I encouraged the cousins to speak the Ghana language with them. And one day I went to Abukobi to visit my mom, who happened to be my grandmom, but obviously she brought us up when I was at the age of, let's say, 11 months to 16, 17 years. So I see her as my mom. And when I call her grandmom, I feel guilty.
Yeah, okay.
So one day we went to visit her after school, when I picked them up from school. And so I encourage my cousins over there as well, Nabogobi, to speak the Ghana language with them. And my mom was like, no, 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 no. I don't want you to speak the Ghana language. When my children speak English, I love it. So continue to speak the English. And those days, or even now, who are you to differ? You just have to obey. So not, I'm not saying this because I'm here today, but when she said that, I wasn't really happy, and I didn't say anything. I didn't oppose or whatsoever, and it just continued like that. But as they started to grow up, I realized that I have really disappointed them in terms of their culture, especially their language. And someone will say, but I speak Ga with my children at home. They can understand Ga, and, you know, why do you use this as an excuse? But I can assure you it wasn't an excuse. And it was very challenging when you are used to speaking the English and then you try to change it. And if they will confirm, now and then I try to speak the Ghana language with them, which it was very difficult for them to understand. So about a few years back, I decided to celebrate my mom's 25th anniversary since her passing. So I asked myself, what can I do in terms of, you know, something to, a monument, something that I can do it in remembrance of my mom. So I decided to buy Ghana books and donate it to Abokobi Presby School, so they can keep it in their library, and then the children can have access to it. Because when I was growing up, I had access to all sorts of Ghana books. Some of them are Adote Shele Nkome, Obulakwa, Christopher Jogbefalo, all those kind of things. I had the opportunity to read them, as well as speaking the Ghana language. So I was exposed to my culture and my language.
Even
so
though you were living here in England?
This is when I was growing up in Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah. So I decided that I'll give these children opportunity. So I'll buy all these books, put it in the library, then they can have access to it. So obviously you cannot just, you know, get up and do things like that. So I am a member of the Ghana Adangme sort of the Kasimohe website, not website, platform. So I noticed that some authors have been bringing books to this platform. So I started liaising with them because I wanted to buy some of their books. And also some of them directed me to, if I'm mistaken, I get that a little bit mixed up with Accra Bureau of Languages, something like that. It is like another organization that sells books. So they directed me there. But one of the authors that I contacted, and I explained to her, not knowing one of the top authors in Ghana, Professor Philip Laye. I called this gentleman, and I explained to him what I wanted to do. So he was the one who said, my daughter, if you take these books to the library, the school library, they will not use it because it is not part of the curriculum. So what I would advise you to do is to, you know what, channel your ideas to the Presby Children's Service. So with that, they can integrate it into the teaching. So I was like, oh, Professor, thank you very much. So now I have to liaise with the elders of the church. Where would I go? So, and in Ghana, you have to know someone, you know, before you cannot just, you know, get up and do these things. So I had a chat with, we call him Zion, but he's a broadcaster from Obodo TV, Ni Ajite Ajay, Moses Ajite Ajay. I had a chat with him.
So, I can see that you are mentioning a lot of big personalities. So you had to did you have to struggle to get all these people to get them on board, on your projects, these are some big personalities in Ghana in terms of, broadcasters and writers, because it means you had that passion to really push this project forward.
Yeah.
Did you have any struggle in getting their contact, or it was made available to you?
Right. These people I mentioned their name.
Okay.
They are members of this Ghana Adangbe
Okay. Yeah.
chat group.
Yeah.
So I sort of liaise with the host, who is Niate. So I liaised with the host, and I asked him to ask these people if I can contact them, if it's okay if I can have their number. And they were quite happy for me to have their numbers. So although their numbers were on the chat, obviously I have to get their consent. I cannot just get up and call them.
Yeah.
So after they accepted that, oh, I can call them, so then I started listening with them.
Mom, with such a project, right? I know it's very difficult for someone just to come up and go like, look, I want to impact on other children. You need money. Are you the only one financing this project?
Yes, I am at the moment. Recently, I've got my first donor. That's my daughter Dede with me. Was it last month? She said, "Oh, Mom, I've put some money in your account for your project." And I was like, "Oh, thank you very much." Anyway, but I am self-funding it at present.
Okay. Anyone watching, if you are really, really interested in supporting Miss Angela Naomi's Quaynor's project, that's the Angle Club project, with the main aim of motivating children to learn the Ga language and traditions at early stages. I do have her contact details on my screen, so you can reach out to her. So, Mom, I'm a Fanti from Ghana. You were talking about children not learning their language at an early stage, and I would say I was also a victim of that, because the school that I attended, we started learning our local language at stage 4. So I did not take my local language or my mother's tongue so seriously, because I was like, okay, I know English. What am I going to do with my local language or my mother tongue? And I must say, I feel so embarrassed that as a Ghanaian, I cannot write my Fanti. I can speak it all right, but literally I cannot write it. But I can write that of another man's language, which is very, very appalling. And I think sometimes society back home makes we think that to be leaders or to be at a certain place in life, it is only English that we do need. What's your take on that, Mom?
Thank you very much. When I wrote my proposal for the Angle Club, I wrote a poem about language, and I will briefly say it in Ghana, then I'll narrate it in English. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Right. So the whole idea was yuemo jino ni yo for you keji ebi kan fufo na ni ekechonle kegbe kemfo ela ha le ye yuemo mi eke yuemo na kudo gbeke ne ke chosi ole yuemo na ji kusum kenklen ni gbeke na kasio be mli ni ekan fufo na dani eya. So briefly, the meaning of the poem is language. Language is a culture. Language is what a mother uses to sing for a baby while breastfeeding the baby, or when the baby is distressed. The mother will sing in her language or dialect to calm or soothe the baby. The mother will use her language as a way of bringing up the child and to control the child, not control, but to sort of direct the child in the right path of life. So this language begins while the child is being breastfed, before the child goes into town. So it is very important to introduce your language to your children while they are young, before they go into society. I'm not saying that it is not a good idea for a child to learn different language. It is very, very important for a child to be bilingual in terms of learning different languages. However, your culture or your language, that comes first, because that makes you who you are.
That's your
Now, a
identity.
very well-known writer called Gaston Darren, he has written a lot of books, and he's a German writer.
Okay.
And he emphasized that although he is a German, he writes in English, Dutch, and other languages. But he always reminds himself that it is very important to be aware of who you are, and who you are is your culture, and your culture makes you who you are. So it's like a circulation. You are so and so. What makes you so and so? So it is very important to have your culture, and your culture is your language.
Yeah.
Then you can learn other people's language. But you cannot learn someone else's language, and then when it comes to your one, you don't know.
Yeah.
Now, I'll give you an example. My African name is, or my Ghana name is Adukwe. So just imagine you say, oh, Adukwe, do your thing. And I said, sorry, I don't understand Ghana. And you say, but your name is Adukwe. Another reason why also sort of prompted me to set up this Angle Club, because of my grandmom ideology that I want my children to speak English, and I like it when they speak English, because a lot of her grandchildren were born abroad. Likewise, me, we were born abroad, and then we grew up in Ghana. So all her grandchildren, anytime they come and visit or whatsoever, they speak English. So that thing is there. But I'm not saying that do not encourage your children to learn another language, but it is a wrong move for you, as a parent, because my grandmom did it. As a parent, to think that it is very important for your child to speak English, or to prioritize English over their own
language.
So it is another awareness for parents that children, English is like, how big is England? And that is originated of, what do you call it, the English language. Now, tell me, which country will you go that English is not spoken there? Every country, right? So it is very important that your child, so wherever, if your child will go to school and they will learn the English language there, now they don't teach the Ghana language in schools. So if you speak English with your child at home, the child goes to school and they learn English and maybe other languages, maybe account or whatever they are teaching there. Ask yourself, who is going to teach your child their own language?
And
that is where the gaps come into it.
And this goes back to me in my university days. I studied philosophy, and at my end of year project, I decided to write my thesis, the role African proverbs play in philosophy. Mom, it was really tedious in the sense that we did not have a lot of writers of our culture, because it was like most of our writers were few, and I needed a lot of references for my project. My mates left school, and 2 months still I was struggling to finish up with my project. Then I realized that, wow, our culture or our history is more the oral, what we speak. And I know even the Ga Adambe are from, what do you call it? For me, I got to know that the Ga Adambe are from Nigeria. And later, I also got to know that they are from Israel. But before we play about a small clip about the Ga Adambe, because a lot of people go to Ghana, right? You guys don't know that the land that you go to party on belongs to the Ga Adambe. So, Mom, Ga is from Israel. it was quite so surprising for me to hear that.
I heard about this, that a writer, a historian that I don't want to mention names here, wrote a book about different sorts of people in Ghana and categorized the Ghana as Nigerians.
Okay.
And one day, Ashanti lady introduced herself to me at work as Ashanti, and I said, I'm a Ghana. Oh, so you are from Nigeria? And I was like, where did you get this from? I know that writer who wrote that book, and I was like, no.
That's comic.
I was like, sorry, please get your facts right.
Right.
The Ghanaians, we were black Jewish.
Okay.
Now, as I'm saying that now, there has been a lot of debate about it, that we don't have a proof that the Ghanaians are black Jewish.
Yeah.
But historically, we started to travel because we were driven out of Egypt. Israel. So we started to travel along the Nile.
River Nile,
Okay. So some people decided to settle wherever they would settle. Some people continue. And actually, some part of Nigeria, when you look at their dressing, is similar to
That's of the
yes, our dressing. So some of them settle wherever they will settle, and those people who ended up in Accra also ended up in Accra. But as I'm saying now, even sometimes when we go to our Radio Adambe, platform, we do some learning about our culture every Thursday. This has been ongoing, that we are not Jewish. We are Nigerians. We are not Nigerians. We are Jewish.
So it's a debate.
But my great-great-grandmom told me that the Ghanaians, we are black Jewish, and we were driven away from Israel. Then we started walking along the Nile. So that thing has been at the back of my mind, but not that I've read a book, but recently it is a debate.
So my viewers, this is a short clip about the Ga Adambe of Ghana.
The Ga Dangbes are one ethnic group that lives primarily in the Greater Accra of Ghana. The Ga people were organized into 6 independent towns: Accra, Gamashi, Osu, La, Teshi, Nungwa, and Tema. Each town has a store which served as the central object of Ga ritual and war magic. Accra became the most prominent Ga Dangbe town and is now the heartbeat and capital of Ghana. The Dangbe people occupy the coastal area of Ghana from Pone to Ada on the Volta River and the South Atlantic Ocean along the Gulf of Guinea and inland along the Volta River. The Ga people were originally farmers, but today, fishing and trading imported goods are the principal occupation. The Ga people celebrate the Homowo Festival, which literally means hooting at hunger. This festival originated several centuries ago. It is celebrated in remembrance of a great famine that hit the Ga people. It is mainly a food festival which celebrates the passing of that terrible period in the history of the Ga people. It takes place in August every year and is celebrated by all the Ga clans. The Ga Dangbe music includes drumming and dancing. One of the traditional music and dance style, albeit fairly modern one, is called Pangwabo, a modernized traditional dance and music form developed around 1960. In addition to music, the Ga Dangbe people are known for their long history and successes in the sport of boxing. The fishing community of Bokum on outskirts of Accra is considered as the mecca of boxing in Ghana and has produced several notable boxers.
So Mom, we've seen this short video. So way forward, where is the Angle Club project going? I mean, future plans for the project.
Okay, so when I started the Angle Club, my aim was to set it up in Abukubi to teach all the children's services. But when I was growing up, we had, we call it Salem, which is Presbyterian, but they call it Salem. The schools, they were called Salem. So when I was growing up, Osu, La, Abokobi, we used to do yearly sports activity. So I decided that why wouldn't I integrate Osu and La and Abokobi into this club? So we will have competition. And children really like competition because nobody wants to lose. So instead of Abokobi, I was like, you know what, let me add the rest of those two towns. So now it's Abokobi, La, and Usu. Now the whole idea was to increase
Yeah.
the Angle Club, to increase, to sort of go to
Other communities.
go to from community to community. When I liaised with the professor and the gun writers, they wanted me to do it sort of like Abokobi have got sub Presbyterian as well, not only Abokobi one. Abokobi one is called Zimmerman Memorial Presbyterian, and then they have sub ones. So I decided that no, I'm not going to do the sub ones. I'm going to do the main Presby churches. And La also has got another sub Presbyterian. So I was like, no, I'm going to do Bethel, Zimmerman Memorial Presby, and then Osu Ebenezer Presby. So the whole idea, when we establish these three churches, now the future, if God permit, we are going to add Teshi, and then we are going to add the sub ones. So we are looking at expanding to integrate all the sub Presbyterians in all those areas. But a drop of water make a mighty ocean. When you are starting something, you start it where you can control it. And then when you start to get help, not only financial, but physical help, then you start to increase. So as I said, this is 50,000 miles journey, but I'm starting with one step.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm going to get there. So in the near future, our plan is to increase and to also add Gamashi. We are going to add Adan. We are going to expand to add all the Presby churches. Especially, we are aiming at children to encourage them to learn the Ga language, not only to learn how to speak it fluently, but also to be able to write it and also to understand our culture. Because when you understand your language and the culture is being added, then it will make sense to you. So yes, in the near future, we are going to expand the Angle Club to all Presby children's services in Greater Accra.
So, Ma'am, do you have plans to also include other Ghanaian languages?
Recently, when we went to our platform, we were having a discussion, and someone from, I think, La area, one of the prominent persons, I can't remember them, I'm very bad with names, right? There has been a proposal that they are going to add Krobo to the Ga Dangme. So this is in the process. So if this goes according to the plan, then we will integrate Krobo because we are aiming at expanding Ga and Dangme language. So if Krobo will come on as well, that is something that we are going to look into it. And also, although, yes, my focus is Ga because we are in Greater Accra, but when you go to Accra, it seems like Ga language is quite very, very limited. Everyone is speaking Twi, and I in particular, I really don't understand it. It can be very, very overwhelming. Right. So, yes, we are going to integrate the Adangme into it. So, because we are Ga Adangme. So, if I'm looking at Ga language, now we have to look at the Adangme also. And if God permits, they integrate the Krobo language into it as well. That is something that we are going to look into it. So my fellow writers out there, if you are Krobo, you are Adangme, please, please, please come up with your books. Let's get together. Let's integrate and promote our language on our land.
Okay. So, Mom, I lived in Accra for 3 years. To be honest, I don't know any of. I'm ashamed of myself. So I'm going to challenge myself today on the show. I'm going to learn some few Ga languages, some few Ga words, so or sentences. So, Mom, if I say I want to go home, how will I say it in language? I want to go to Ghana. How will I say it in Ghana?
Before I will interpret it, we have Ghana academics out there, very high, and my Ghana to them it sounds like English.
Okay, no, that's
so before I will sort of interpret your question, please, if I made any mistake, this is to the Ghana academics, please pardon me, right? But I'll try my best. So please come in again with your question. You want
I would like
to
go to Ghana in December.
Minta Maya Ghana in December. December, it is not a Ghana. It is English.
Yeah.
So that shows that the month, the name of the month in Ghana, I'm lacking there as well.
Yeah, and even I, as a fancy, also do that a lot. For instance, when I'm speaking fancy, instead of me to say epon, which is table, we infuse our language with the English.
Yeah. So I'm going to. It's likely that I'm going to do
okay,
that.
What about cup or mug?
Couple.
Yeah. Oh, that's also similar to fancy.
Couple.
Oh wow. Couple. Okay. Cup. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. As in fancy, we call this it's a couple. Yeah. In fancy,
But you'd be surprised that maybe this might be another inherent word whereby the Ghana will have the Ghana academics know
the exact
precise.
Yeah.
So like a street, the street that we walk on, right? In some of them say stiti, but in Ghana we call it Oshigente. Oshigente, that is street. And bike that we ride, we say bicycle. In Ghana, Okokbi. Right. So, but even, I can say that even a few people know these words. Because a lot of the Ghana language is sort of, as you said,
diluted because of the...
So sometimes it's going to be very difficult to speak pure Ghana without putting a little bit of English in it to make it a full sentence. So sometimes it can happen.
We are losing our identity.
Hugely. And it is like a wake-up call, but some people think, oh, no, we are not losing it. But yes, when you are in it, you wouldn't notice. But when you are from outside and you go to Accra, then you will notice that, no, the Ghana language is really, 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 I hardly hear anyone speaking Ghana when I visit.
And Mom, for you to take up such an initiative, I must applaud because, as you said, you have denied your children, but you don't want to deny other kids from their culture, of which is very, 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 very important. So, anyone watching, if you want to support Angle Club projects, of which Mrs. Angela Naomi Quaynor is the founder. Her details is on my screen. Please do get in touch with her. And thank you very much, Mom, once again for coming on my show. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, we have approximately 80 languages in Ghana. And we are starting with the Ghana language because we are Ghana. we are proud of our culture, and we are on Ghana land. So it is very important that we have to promote our language. Especially, we have to encourage the children that are coming to learn their culture. And Fiifi, thank you ever so much for inviting me to your program. So I would like to
Oh, you have a
donate this
t-shirt.
T-shirt.
Thank you.
That is our T-shirt, Angle Club T-shirt.
Wow.
And this is something that I am going to sort of use to do a competition every year.
Wow.
So this will go to the crew. So I think now you are
Yeah.
a member of the crew. And also we are going to have T-shirt for Abokobi, La, and Osu. So Fiifi, this
This is really
this is
quality
yours.
t-shirt, so I would like my viewers to look at it. Yeah, really nice. So thank you very much, Mom, for coming. I really appreciate
pleasure.
this.
My pleasure.
Really nice. Going to Ghana in December, I'm rocking it. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment in the comment section. I mean, which language identify you? It can be English, it can be Twi, it can be what you call French. Leave it down in the comment section. And thank you very much for watching. Bye.
Bye-bye.